Hello everyone, I'm Karen and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Bloodwitch by Susan Dennard. Now for those of you who have been here for a while, you know that the Witchlands series by Susan Dennard is one of my all-time favourite series. I've done reviews of both Witch and Truthwitch, which is the first book in the series, and I'll link them up here for you. As this is the third book in the series, there will be spoilers for Truthwitch, Witch, and I'm not sure if there will be spoilers for this, but if you haven't read Sightwitch yet, you should. So after these three lovely books, and well, two books and one novella, we're finally on to Bloodwitch, which is Adrian's story. If you don't want to have any spoilers, now's the time to click away. I'm gonna try and do this with as little spoilers as possible, just because, as always, I love going into books without spoilers, and I'm guessing some of you might too. So at the beginning of this book, Adrian and Isolde are trying to evade the Raider King, Safi is still in Marstock with the Empress Vanessa, and Merrick gets captured by the Fury. So this is kind of the setup of this book. I don't want to talk too much about certain plot points. As you may see, this is quite a big book. It's bigger than the previous two, but it is bigger for a good reason. It reads incredibly fast. All of the main characters get plenty of screen time, plenty of character development. As the title would suggest, Adrian is kind of the main arc that we follow, and what an arc it is. I was already very firmly team Bedouin, but let's just say that after this book, I absolutely love him. Love him. Love him. One of the things that I found really interesting with this one versus the previous two books is that you do get a couple of flashbacks from when Adrian was younger, and I'm sure that a lot of us had kind of either guessed or had kind of theorized about Adrian's past, but holy cow, there are some amazing revelations. This is another reason why you should read Sightwitch between Witch and Bloodwitch. Honestly, if you haven't read Sightwitch yet and you're thinking of starting Bloodwitch, read Sightwitch first, because there's going to be a couple of reveals that otherwise you won't realise how actually monumental they are. So I highly suggest you read Sightwitch first and then dive into this bad boy. So Bloodwitch has all of the amazing elements that I loved Truthwitch and Witch for, but Karen, you may be asking, why should I read Bloodwitch? What's different? Well, the story continues, but it's not just that. All of our main characters have to make so many different decisions, and they grow incredibly throughout this book. I mean, you know that I love Adrian, but in my opinion, the most interesting arc in this book is probably Merrick's. And of course Vivia, because she's my fave. The Nihar siblings have some amazing character work done to them and by them in this book, and it's just fantastic to read, especially when people are starting to come into their own and not in the way that they expected or that we would expect. Now, I may not be the most unbiased person to talk about this book because I've raved about the series since day one, but in my opinion, this is Susan's best so far. It is intricate, it is detailed without being dragging, it is fast, the action sequences are just so well done. Honestly, for myself, I've read action in a couple of other books recently, and I would just not quite skim, but I would skim basically. With this, I didn't, because what Susan does is she ties every single bit of action into the emotional kind of arc of the character, and it is just, I'm in awe at her writing, to be honest. And it's really funny because I am in awe, but at the same time it doesn't take me out of the story. It just is this general feeling of I am enjoying reading this book so much I don't want it to ever end, but at the same time you want to race to the end because you want to know what happens. And she blends this craft with storytelling in such a wonderful, wonderful way. Now, if you talk about the overarching storyline, Bloodwitch is where a lot of shit goes down. Not just on a personal level from a lot of our characters, but also on a political level. And a lot of the machinations behind the scenes become more obvious, both to the characters and to ourselves. There's this one part with Safi on Marstock which just blew my absolute mind. I had not seen anything coming whatsoever that way. And I think this is the great thing about the way Susan has set up the series with Truthwitch. There's so much to discover. There's so much that is not quite said, but that is hinted at. And it really keeps you guessing all the way around. And it's the same in this book. There's no easy answers. You're not being handed things on a plate. But that makes the payoff all the more exciting. I know I've put this book in my top 5 books of last year that I read because I read an advanced copy. But honestly, I may just reread it again just a couple months later because I loved it so much. It's such a good book. I would highly recommend it. And I just highly recommend the series to anybody that likes fantasy, to be honest. If you like great world building, intricate fantasy, amazing characters, and like a lot of political intrigue as well as action, this series has it all. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on Bloodwitch by Susan Dennard. Do let me know down below if you've read this book or if you've read the series or started reading the series. I always like to talk to people about this series. It's one of the series I can't shut up about. I'll probably make a million different videos about. So yeah, all of my other Witchlands related videos will be linked down below as well. So if you're interested in the series and you want to get started, have a little look, see what's going on. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you know when I post new videos, and I'll talk to all of you very soon. Bye.